This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.
It's been something that has been happening, but it's become alarming in the last couple of years because of the rate at which projects are inserted into the budget by the members of the National Assembly. In most cases, in ministries or in the budgets of ministries or departments and agencies that, neither have the mandate nor the capacity to implement, and monitor this project. And so if you recall, the 2023 budget, when the president, then that's Buhari, was signing into law, he said that this budget was unimplementable because the National Assembly had inserted over 6,500 projects, that had increased budget, the entire budget size. They had put in projects that, the federal government should have no business, getting involved in the first place. If you look at the 2024 budget, you see projects, around the construction of community town halls, the drilling of boreholes. I mean, these are things that ideally the federal government should have no business implementing. You see projects or you see allocations to allowances to traditional rulers. It's absurd. You see, projects centered around the construction or renovation of church halls. And you're wondering, is this the best use of Nigeria's resources?
Well, Mr.
So it's something that it's a problem, right? And it's something that we need to find a way to resolve. I know constitutionally because
Mr. Hussein, I apologize for interrupting you, but budget has looked through the 2024 budget. What's the possibility that this particular budget was padded?
I mean, so I'm usually very careful around, careful with using the word padding, because constitutionally, the National Assembly has the powers to appropriate funds, right? So whether it's a project or a program. So maybe the question should be, to what level were, insertions made in the budget. Let me not use the word padding. But from our preliminary analysis, about 7,400 projects were inserted into the 2024 budget by the National Assembly. If you recall also, when the president was going to sign the budget into law, he had said that about 1.2 trillion, the budget was raised by about 1.2 trillion naira. And this is because of, the number of insertions, of projects by the National Assembly. So,
Mr. Hussein, I mean, it's interesting you say this because if the president identified this and signed that Appropriation Act into law, it then becomes a bit tricky to use the word padded. At this point, it has been approved and it's legally backed. So how do we then track that these monies are actually being used in the way that they should be used?
So I do not even agree with how the money is used in the first place. Because like I said, this is a country that, has revenue challenges. And so the resources are not really there, to spread around on frivolities, for the want of a better word. Right? The federal government has no business building community town halls in villages. It has no business drilling boreholes in. You ask yourself, what's the purpose of having a local government or the state government if the federal government has to leave Abuja to come and, build a community town hall in a village, has to leave Abuja to come and drill a borehole in a community in a village? It doesn't even have the capacity to implement this project. And so when you cite micro projects like this in the budget, there's no capacity to monitor the implementation. It just provides an opportunity for corruption, for state capture. And so you see the budget riddled with projects. If you look at street lights, for instance, year in, year out, in this year's budget, there are over 5,000 projects focused on, the installation of street lights alone. And this is what happens year in, year out. You drive across the length and breadth of Nigeria, and you ask yourself, in how many communities do you see street lights? Even on the major roads, where do you see the street lights? And this is not just small sums. In some places, 5 billion, 3 billion, 1 billion for street lights in selected communities. And it has become a practice that year in, year out, instead of us to focus the very meager resources we're able to raise in terms of revenue on programs or projects that would stimulate economic growth, and support development.
Right.
We focus on frivolities that we do not, in the first place, have the business doing as a federal government, and we do not have the capacity to monitor the implementation.
Well, Mr. Hussein, thank you very much for speaking with us this morning on The Conversation. Our guest on this conversation was Mr. Iniobong Hussein. He is the head of research at Budget Foundation, and he joined us to speak on the allegations of budget padding regarding the 2024 budget. The conversation continues on Now Breakfast. Do stay with us.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.